just move and run all the time. That's what I did. I'd pack up and run everywhere, you know. And I pulled out my phone one day and just sent a text to everyone I knew that lived out of town. And one of them was my mum. We'd only been back in contact for a little while. 2 days later, I ended up in a little town called Canowindra, which is near Orange in New South Wales. And yeah, my mum met me, you know, at the bus with a 6-pack and a, you know, box of pills, and party with her for 3 weeks. And then one night, yeah, we partied on, and the next day my son, he was I think 7 at the time, proceeded to tell me everything Mummy did while she was wasted because I blanked out. And you know, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. So there was a rehab just up the road, and I walked up there, you know, and I'm like, told him, I said, but I can't come into rehab, I've got the kids. I'd been to rehab and stuff, didn't work. And so they sent me to AA. And I dried out with my kids, so I was on the floor screaming, spewing, all that with my kids on top of me, basically. And you know, I think it was really good for me to go through that, because it made me think I'll never do that again. It was, yeah. Anyway, so I did AA for 12 months, and during that time I met a few people that really looked after me and the kids. And you know, I looked at them all and I'm like, what's the one thing in common that they've got, you know? And it was, they were all Christian. And I'm like, maybe there's something in that. You know, my perception of God, well, if there was a God, why did he let all the stuff that happened to me, like, you know, I was abused, all that as a kid. And if there was a God, I didn't want to know him because of that stuff, you know. Now I realise that, yes, there's a God, but there's also the enemy, you know, the devil. He's the one that's come to, you know, rob, steal and destroy. That's the reality. But anyway, so yeah, I met these people and stuff, and I'd kind of go to church and then I'd take off, and I would argue like every point, you know, well, what about the dinosaurs, and what about this, and what about that, and I'd have full-on arguments with Christians, and then I'd take off. But I stayed sober for 12 months, and then yeah, I busted. And I'd always heard, like in AA and stuff, you know, you pick up where you left off. For me, it was even worse. Within 2 hours of me picking up, I had my kids in the car with a drunk guy, and we got wrapped around a tree after being sober for 12 months, you know. But me and my kids walked away without a scratch on us, you know, that tell me there wasn't someone looking after us. You know, for 5 days I continued using and stuff, but this one beautiful woman, Nerida, she would come and sit at home with me every day, and I'd scream at her, tell her to F off, you know, get out of my face. And she'd sit there every day and just say, you know, I'm not letting you have a pity party and let you think that no one loves you, because I love you and God loves you. You know, and I'd go off my head about God and all that. And she did it for 5 days. And then after those 5 days, I went and seen my mate Alison. So Alison was dying of cancer. And, you know, she'd gotten clean, become a Christian, and then she was dying of cancer, you know, but she was sitting there telling me about Jesus. And I'm like, how can you sit there and tell me about Jesus when you're dying? And she said, because I've got peace, because I know where I'm going. I'm going to meet my maker, you know. And when she told me that, you know, because I knew the life she'd had, like when she was a kid and all that, she was so tormented. And she said, now I know where I'm going. Anyway, I was walking home, I lived out of town, and you know, I was walking along the highway, and I just looked up and I'm like, if you're real, show me. Instantly I was on my knees in tears, and I've been clean and sober and a Christian ever since. That was 9 years ago.